What's going on, guys? Jeff here for Premium Aquatics, and today we're going to be taking a look at a few products from Lifegard Aquatics. Welcome back to Premium Aquatics. This is where we take a look at new products each and every week to help you make an informed decision on what is right for you, your reef tank, and your budget. And this week we're going to be taking a look at a few products from Lifegard, so let's jump into it. Alright guys, so we got a box and we're going to take a look and see what is inside said box. Got paper. Paper's always good. Alright, so I see something hidden right on top. We got a Lifegard Aquatics Lifegard Side Flow Turbo Reactor. This is the medium size. Pretty familiar with these, so we'll take a better look at that here in a second. And we got a Lifegard LED digital thermometer. Oh, you plug it in. That's interesting. Take a little bit better look at that in a second. Looks like there was one more thing in here. Then we got the Lifegard Aquatics. It's like a auto feeder. Alright, so let's get rid of this box and dive into these products a little bit deeper. Alright, so we got a couple different items from the Lifegard Aquatics. And kind of interested in these guys. I know what this dude's all about, so let's take a look at that one first. Turbo Reactor. Very heavily used by folks that are in the coral selling business, especially this one in particular. So you have your product guide right here on top. Kind of breaks down everything for you in a little bit more detail. They have two different models. They have the side flow, which is the ones that have these pipes that come down the side, and basically what it does is it reduces the amount of water trickling that you're getting, so it goes below that water line. Which they work very well, and I've used them on a couple of different systems to date. Then they have these top flow ones, tend to be a little bit more noisy because there's water basically just like pouring over the sides of the reactor. In my opinion, I prefer the side flow model, but to each their own. So product equipment information, always good to take a look at that prior to operation. And usually the packing on these turbo reactors are pretty solid. Acrylic on this is always done very well. I've always been pretty happy with them. And this size is quite often what you will see at trade shows in aquariums. So they usually put, you know, like a product like ChemiPure in there, just to make sure that they're polishing that water and making sure that they're removing any type of chemicals that might be present. But the acrylic on this is very thick. It's very well built. Haven't had a lot of issues with these, and I've owned quite a few of them. I actually have one on one of my systems currently. I think it's the large. You can see how long that pipe is. It goes almost to the base or beyond the base of the reactor, down where the pump is located. You have the ability to control the flow here with this nozzle, and essentially what it does is you can kind of see right up in there, if I get the right angle, kind of see there's a little bit of constriction there, and that just basically opens up the flow to the reactor so it can flow a little bit faster, depending on what you have in here for media, how fast you want it to move, whether it be biopellets where you're trying to look for that perfect tumble, or, you know, just some type of chemical filtration product where you're just blasting the water through the reactor. Depending on what you're trying to accomplish, you can control that flow a little bit. There should be a couple more things in here. So you have the sponges in the event that you are doing some type of GFO. If you're not doing any GFO at all, I would remove, especially biopellets, I would remove the sponges altogether. Then you have this little acrylic plate, which is to support the pump once that's installed. And then you have these very nice little pumps that work pretty well. I've used them actually for other things other than just the reactor. I've used them in some small tank setups. And essentially what you do with that is you have a little hole in the bottom there. You just take that pump, insert it. There's a little bit of support in there, and that pump just fits in just right, just enough room, and that's a solid little pump, and you can control that flow with that pump a little bit. You have a little bit of a dial here where you can increase the flow, or I'm decreasing it right now. It has a little bit of a guide on there, and there you have it. There is the Lifegard side flow reactor. I've used them on a number of different systems. There will be a link in the description below if you want to check out this guy, but we have two more Lifegard Aquatic products to take a look at. Alright, so next up we got the LED digital thermometer, highly visible, ultra bright blue LED display, 6-volt power supply with 5-foot cord, used in submersible applications to display water temperature or dry applications to display air temperature. For fresh or saltwater aquariums and reptile tanks, accurate, durable, suction cup included. So essentially with this, this is your digital readout slash thermometer probe built into this entire unit right here, and it has that display. It's waterproof, so you're actually able to put it into the aquarium and have it pushed up against the glass. So I'm assuming that you have the ability to flip that suction cup around, and then you got a 5-foot cord and you plug it in. So pretty simple in its design, and in a sump type situation, if you're looking for, you know, a extra thermometer in there, I think that that's definitely okay to put that in there. It's not going to bother anything down there. But so that's the Lifegard LED digital thermometer. And then last but not least, we have the feeder. Now, pretty interested in this product. It looks like it has some pretty interesting features in it. It has a moisture proof, completely automatic, digital controlled, sealed food container, and program up to 12 daily feedings. Wow. That's pretty crazy. Pre-programmable, 2 feedings per day with possible settings for up to 12 feedings daily depending on the number of fish in your aquarium. Manually to push. Alright, so you got a manual push button to feed anytime. So if you get home, want to feed the fish, you can push the button and feed them. I have, not this brand, but the Eheim auto feeder on my tank, and I absolutely love it. It makes life a lot more simple. I know that the fish are getting feed regularly, so that definitely helps out quite a bit. And it looks like you got your instructions, nice little silicone feet for your feeder. And then the feeder itself, pretty easy, just kind of slides into that bottom piece. And then depending on how thick your glass is, you can just slide, I don't know if you can see that or not, you can just slide this piece. Then you have that screw that you can, alright, so you got like little notches in here, so you can, based on how thick your aquarium glass is, do a preset and then get it dialed in with that plastic screw. Alright, so one thing that I'm noticing right off the bat is you have a couple different options as far as the power supply goes. So you have the ability to plug it in with a 6-volt DC adapter, and there's also a spot put your batteries into it as well. So you have a couple different options. So you can get away with the batteries, which I'm sure they're going to last a very long time, using 4 AA batteries, or you have the ability to use that AC adapter, which I think is going to be a phenomenal way to have this feeder running for a long-term type scenario, so you don't have to worry about those batteries giving up on you. I like these notches, as simple as that is. That's definitely going to accommodate a lot of different size aquariums, being able to just make those adjustments and then tighten it down with the screw. Then you have this long front portion here where it has the ability to make sure that that's staying exactly the way that it needs to. Programming, relatively simple. You know, you have the ability to feed it 2 times per day, up to 12 times per day. A little bit of a digital readout there. So once you get your batteries installed, you have the ability to do that. And looks like as far as the motor itself, that's what is actually going to eject this and then turn it. And this little adjustment down here basically dictates how much food. So if you want less food, you slide it all the way to the left. If you want more food, all the way to the right. And that's how you pour your food in. Basically don't want any food in the middle there. Then you have this sealed enclosure lid that goes in like so. Depending on, let's say you want just a little bit of food, every time that were to open up and then feed the tank, I think that that's interesting because, you know, most people feed their tanks, you know, 1 to 2 times a day, which in a lot of cases, most fish in the wild feed constantly. It's a constantly happening thing. Having a smaller amount, having that closer to the left side when you are dialing your feeding, and more frequently, you're actually going to be able to accommodate your fish, give them a little bit less food per feeding, but have more frequent feedings. Is going to create a very natural feeding habit for your fish. So that is the Lifegard automatic feeder, and I'm pretty impressed with that. It's going to serve a lot of people very well. I use auto feeders on my tank all the time. I think that it helps keep things consistent, and your fish actually eventually end up learning it. With the Eheim feeder that I have on my 220 gallon, the fish, they'll hear that thing start to turn, they actually get all wound up. They go right to the surface, so they almost get trained to it. But pretty interesting product from Lifegard Aquatics. Anybody that's looking to add, you know, a little bit of consistency to the feeding, why not make it automated as well and go with something like a automated feeder. Alright folks, that's going to do it for today's video. I want to thank you for joining me. If you want to do a little bit more research on the products that we covered in today's video, there's going to be links in the description below, which will bring you to Premium Aquatics, where you can do some more research or even pick one up for yourself. That's it for today. I want to thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next week right here with a brand new product.